I'm confused. Wait a minute. So
wait, let me ask you.
I gotta admit legally and say that I'm legally this child father when I know I skied 9-10 months ago. We together. Now you mad at me because we not together.
See,
so you gonna take me to court
You
and
can
now
get a paternity test.
and I gotta pay for it too. If it's found out it's not even like you gotta pay for it.
Sir, so you mean to tell me that you don't want to pay $50
No,
for
I
a
get that.
paternity
I'm
test?
talking for everybody. That's what I'm asking. Good evening. Hey, what's going on, man? I don't know. This guy over here tripping. This Kutt podcast. I'm Kutt the Barber. This is Kutt Johnson over here. Today we're talking about the fallout from divorce. We talked about the effect of children last time that have been victims of divorce. Today we're going to talk about what happens to those people who actually end up getting divorced. So we have this wonderful young lady over here. Her name is Miss La-Zondra Randolph. She's a family attorney at law. Of course, this is Kutt Johnson. I'm Kutt the Barber. Good afternoon, Miss La-Zondra. How are you?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
I'm doing well. You doing okay over there, brother?
Yeah, I'm great.
Kind of quiet. Open your mouth up. So anyway, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell us what's going on. You know, what you do, how you do it, and why you do it.
All right. Well, my name is La-Zondra Randolph, and most people in the community call me Zani.
Hey, Miss
So,
Zani.
you know, I'm not big on titles, so you want to call me Zani, call me Zani. I'm okay with that.
All
She
right.
gets in well with the people.
That's
Zani,
right.
that's
You got to
right.
be
Gotta have a
authentic
street
with
cred.
the people.
Yeah,
Relatable.
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 Gotcha. Okay,
That's
okay.
right.
Cool.
And I've been practicing now for 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to undergrad at the Florida A&M University.
There you go,
And you
family.
know what?
Y'all already know
And-
what we do. We strike.
Right.
We strike.
And
I don't
And
know.
we
strike
strike
again.
again. So don't you forget about us anyway, yeah, because we got some Raptors,
That's
but we
it.
also got some Wildcats in the house. So
these-
let's just get them a little time so they
These
can
college
get themselves
rivalries.
together.
Y'all are older people. Let's relax. It's over now.
Oh,
It's over.
please.
Please get them about that.
Let's-
Talk to them. So
And
go ahead.
I also went to FAMU College of Law.
Hey.
So I call myself a full-blooded rattler.
Oh, I know
There you
that's
go.
right. Orange and green, baby. We bleed that.
Full-blooded rattler. I've also been an adjunct professor at the law school in the Guardian ad litem clinic. I mentor law students, so I'm fully invested in the legal system, especially with our minority students, our black students, making sure that they succeed. And
I think that's dope.
my
Like,
thing.
you know, a black
pretty dope.
black woman, you know, being an attorney of law, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times there's been a lot of stereotypes that might say, hey, she can't do this or she can't make it in this world. Like some of those things aren't really fair to you, but how have you dealt with those and navigated those different obstacles that you came up with?
Well, I knew I wanted to be an attorney since I was 5. So
So this has been a lifelong
it's
journey.
been a lifelong journey, and I did not allow anyone to tell me that I could not be. And I spoke it everywhere I went. Every
Okay.
time somebody asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? An attorney. I want to be an attorney.
Period.
And so I did other things. So this is actually my second career.
What was your first?
My first career, I was an educator.
Really? So
used to
you're
be
a
a teacher?
teacher?
I was to be a teacher.
But that makes sense
I
with the
taught-
adjunct professor and all
Yep.
that extra background.
I taught middle and high school English.
Oh, that's
Oh,
fresh.
wow.
And I also ran an alternative school, high
Really?
school.
That's the bad kids, right?
I wouldn't call them bad. They
That's
just need
the,
some
misguided.
The
yes,
extra
they
need
need
a-
some special attention.
Right.
The ones that got kicked out of public school.
The ones
Right.
that need extra love.
Yes.
The ones that need
The
that
extra
hand
hug,
on,
you know
the
what
one
I
that
mean?
needs the hug around the neck a little too tight.
A little tight, yeah.
Right.
yeah.
I love those kids.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
those are my favorite kids.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I could relate because people, they look at me and they say, okay, you're an attorney and we're held with high esteem. So
Yeah.
they don't think that we can relate to them.
Yep.
They think that, oh, you're this and you're high on your horse and you this and that. And I have to break it down to them like, listen, I know hood stuff now.
I was about to
So-
say that. I appreciate the fact that you are down to earth and not using these legal terms, especially as someone in law enforcement. I can't stand someone that talks uppity and like,
Right.
relax, yo. We're just having a normal conversation.
A conversation, yeah.
This is
So
not
you
the
run
same.
into family lawyers a lot or what?
Nah, not on my side. That's more the parents deal with that. We don't deal with child custodies as much as the normal person does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you go into the courtroom, Mr. Randolph, what is it that your objective is and what is it that you're trying to achieve when you go into for your client?
I'm just making sure that my clients have a voice. But it starts before the courtroom.
Okay.
I do a lot of counseling because they call it, counselor at law as well. So I do a lot of counseling because I see that there's a lot of problems within our community, from the male perspective as well as the female perspective.
Well, I get it. Like sometimes I feel like it's a little bit slanted. Like I've been through the process somewhat. Fortunately, myself, I'm not on child support anymore, but I've been on
kids.
it. Hey, 4, shut your mouth.
Oh.
So I've been there, and I understand, right? And you go in there, and it's really intimidating because, especially if you don't have your own attorney, right? You go in there, you kind of by yourself, and then you got a whole table full of lawyers over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any discrepancies or disparities in between like blacks or whites or Asians? Do you see where in one community seems to be more disparately affected, or is it equal and even?
It seems that way because, number one, you're probably seeing it because you are in the black community. So you're going to see that more
Right.
because you're in the community.
Right.
Okay.
However, I've seen both sides of the coin. There are white people who are on child support. There are black people who are on
Right.
child support.
Right.
The difference a lot of times is that black people have less resources
Okay.
to pay the child support, whereas white people, they have the resources and
Yeah.
they'll pay. So you don't really see a lot of white people getting in trouble for not paying their child support. It's there now. I'm not saying that because it happens,
Okay.
and it's not a large percentage either.
Really?
I mean, it's only probably a 10 to 20% difference
go.
Well, what you did?
of people.
What you did? You
what?
had to go through it too.
Oh,
When you
we
went in
did-
there,
we
did
sat
you
outside
have an
the court.
attorney? Did you have an attorney?
We're like white people. We sit outside the court.
Oh, you got money. Sorry.
No. We
No,
just
my fault, I forgot.
we don't
We're different
argue.
places.
We
My bad, you know.
we sat down with the mediator and made an agreement.
What about that? What about the mediation? Because the mediator is like basically you do that before you go to court to try to come to an agreement and
Correct.
see if you both can come to common ground.
And it's required now.
Oh, so it's
Good.
a
It's,
law.
it's a
almost.
requirement that you go to mediation
Yep.
first, unless you can, of course, have an agreement outside of that. But
Yep.
before you go to trial and do all that court stuff, you're required to go to mediation.
Okay.
And we always try to resolve it in mediation. That's
Yeah.
the goal, right?
That's the point.
Is to try to get things resolved because it's already contentious. No, 9 times out of 10, it's contentious or it becomes contentious.
Okay.
A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, we talked about it and we reached an agreement and everything's okay." And then when you actually get to the mediation, you recognize that they didn't really come to an agreement, or they came to an agreement with a lot, like maybe 90% of the issues, or you may have one issue that's left. They're arguing about daycare.
Yep.
Did you argue about daycare?
No, right now I'm dealing with summer camp, but
See?
I just took. I'm like the first
That's not
type
part
person.
of child support, though, is it?
No, it can be part of anything. Any type of agreement between your children is an agreement, or it has to be agreed upon, or else you can end up in court.
Correct.
But I think
What?
think
Wait a
your
minute.
no, hold on. I think your misconception is the fact you watch too much daytime TV. Judge Judy fan over here, so all you see is black
Judge
people
Mathis
arguing in
fan. Go
court.
ahead, though, yeah.
And Jerry Springer. So I
he
think being
passed
on the other side of it and seeing it is like, oh yeah, I see white people. And then being in the Army as well has taught me. I've seen a lot of people go through divorce, and I've seen a lot of people scam divorce or child support. But it's been all over the broad strokes, white, black, everybody.
Exactly.
Well, you know, with some people say that child support policies and enforcements, they're obviously more disproportionate against blacks. It just seems they go after those guys more. These are guys
That's
who...
not true.
I don't know, because I'm trying to tell you. I know Charlie just told me the
Again-
other day they came and got him
It
for
says
some money he
Charlie.
owed.
Because
He didn't pay
of lack
you.
of resources.
Yeah.
Well, what's some resources?
A lot of times, the black community, right, we don't make as much as white people.
Right.
Right?
I agree with
Median
So
income, you
it's-
should know that, Mr.
exactly.
Statman.
No, I get it.
So it's really all about resources.
This episode of the Cuff and Cut podcast is brought to you by The Boss Move.
The average African American in the community who's dealing with that particular situation at that time doesn't have the X amount of dollars to pay that attorney to do it. So now we're looking at representation.
DoorDash.
But I'm just saying.
No,
you got-
I agree. There's a lack of representation
Yeah.
because a lot of the black community cannot afford legal
Yeah.
representation. So plug out here, though. There's a program called the Virgil Hawkins Fellowship Program.
Virgil Hawkins Fellowship Program.
Correct.
Good.
I was one of the first fellows back in 2013. Then I became director. Now I am the president of the foundation of the organization.
Sweet.
But one of those things we do is provide free legal representation
Great.
for
There you go.
underserved people. So, of course, you can't come in making $60,000 because you don't qualify. But if you are indigent and can't afford it, then you can come to our program, and depending on the case, you could get free legal representation.
See, I like that.
The issue is a lot of people don't know about it, but there you have legal aid, you have Virgil Hawkins, you have community legal services, you have so many different services out here now that you can get help.
Right.
But the problem is middle class. So you have resources for the underserved, but then what about the ones who are barely making it? So
you
the ones
said,
that
like, check
do
to check.
have, right, live and check to check. So
Yeah.
the ones that are making $50,000, $60,000, but their, expenses and liabilities are really, really high.
Yeah.
So they're living paycheck to paycheck. So
Right.
they really don't. So they don't have resources for those individuals. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the ones I see
Okay.
that really fail to have representation.
Okay. Okay.
And I try to help out as many people as I can, but that becomes very hard for me too because my
You in
rate
this to make some money.
I
What
have,
you mean,
I have,
shoot?
I have an hourly rate, and if you're trying to pay me,
There y'all go with
a
the hourly
third-
rates, man. They kill me these
if
hourly
you're
rates.
trying to pay me a third of the hourly rate every month, that's
Oh,
not
man.
going to
That's
help.
how they try to hit you with a third of the rate per
the
month.
thing, though-
Sometimes zero.
I know you lying.
So wait, I have a question. So with the so you talking about money? Talking about money on that point. I've seen people pay $50 a month. I'm not about the whole, you gotta pay a certain amount, but is it adjusted by pay rate, pay scale, and all that salary?
It is not, but I'm a community person.
Okay.
So I love community. I love helping out, which is
Right.
why I'm part of the Virgil Hawkins Fellowship, and I have my own nonprofit. I'm very active in my church, other community organizations.
Right.
My sorority. So I'm very active in the community, and I love to help. But then there's a balance between helping and still running a business.
Right.
I still have to run a business. I still have
that's your
employees
job.
to
Right,
pay.
yeah.
I still have to live myself, right?
Overhead.
So it's like people
So-
look for a hookup, and it's like, how am I supposed to eat for my own
And-
family?
But I have a lot of compassion. Like I'm a compassionate person.
Right.
And I've just had a situation where the gentleman I knew, and a lot of times it's people I know, which
Yeah.
is
It's
another
always the ones
conversation for
close
another
to
day,
you
right?
that are always
Yeah,
trying to get
But-
that discount.
Yeah.
Right, but it was somebody that I knew, and I tried to work with him, and he begged, because I said I have to get off the case because you're not paying me, and he begged and he pleaded, and I also knew what would happen to the children if I did not do my job, right? And so I said, you know what, we'll get through it, we'll figure it out, but you're gonna have to be on a payment plan. At any rate, I helped him out. I got his children for him.
Oh, here we go.
Thank
Okay,
you, thank
the
you, thank
children were living with dad.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now that's
The
rare.
and the court denied mom's petition for relocation because she had upped and took them out to a different state.
Yeah, that's
You can't
against
do
the
that.
law, right?
Yeah, you can't do that.
Right, so you gotta deal with that, right?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
You don't deal with nothing. You don't, I don't even think you got no job no more, bro.
I have a
Everything I
good-
turn
I have a
around, you
good
don't do
situation.
nothing, bro.
Hey, listen, I'm not leaving this Florida. I like Florida. That's why I moved
No, I'm
here.
talking about you don't ever do nothing.
Oh no, my kids are
This
staying
lady
here.
just sat here and told. Never
So,
mind. I'm gonna leave that
but the
alone.
thing
Go ahead.
was, yeah, she up and left with the children.
No,
Serious,
And
man.
I
not
filed
that.
my motions to make sure that the children came back.
Right.
The children came back to live with dad.
And she would have went to
In
jail,
the
right?
meantime, well, no, I don't know why y'all have this misperception that everybody's
men
gonna
go to jail.
Yeah, you
for
go to
certain
jail,
things.
man.
You
If
can,
you don't
but
pay your
it's
child
very,
support, you lose your license.
it's very
They put you in
rare,
jail for
but
6 months until you
they
purge.
give you. well, So let me tell.
I didn't have to do that.
There's a difference. So we'll get into that in a minute. But
Okay.
He gets
because you
excited.
can't go to jail
Oh,
and your license
yeah.
can't be
Yeah.
suspended.
Absolutely.
But there's a whole different
You
scenario
might not
on
make it
that.
out of that courtroom sometimes.
Oh, they put you in handcuffs.
Yeah, they do.
Exactly.
I've
There
seen
you
that.
go.
That's
They'll put you in
hilarious.
handcuffs
What you mean you
in the
seen
courtroom.
that?
That's
You
the
a-
dirt bags though. That's the ones that don't pay anything.
Right,
It's funny though.
exactly,
They
and
be
that's,
like,
and that's normally the Department of Revenue.
Hold on, wait. Let
that
me
would
ask you
do
this
that.
question. So, what level of accountability do you think that it should be for the man or the
100%.
woman? The one? No, hold on. Let me ask the question. Okay, so whoever gets divorced, right? Whoever the child stays with, normally it's the female who is the custodial parent, just basically off the rip because that's what they say for the mom.
So there's a difference between someone being married and someone just being a father, right?
Yeah, sure.
Paternities. When you're married, the baby is considered to be of the marriage, and so both parents will then be considered to be mother and father.
That's dope.
However, because it's a legitimate child, that's what they call them. However, when you have a couple that's not married, it's mama's baby, daddy's
That is
maybe.
maybe. That's sad, but it's true.
But okay, let me change our perspective on this.
Let's do it because I'm tired.
Because people hate that. But what happens if a mother can just go and say that any man's the dad?
They do it now.
No.
What about those dudes that did
The fathers have to go. The fathers have to go.
Okay.
File their petitions.
Okay.
with the court.
Okay.
I mean, mothers can do it too.
Okay.
But the father either has to admit that he's the father.
Okay.
Or he would take a paternity test,
Right.
and it would show he's the father.
Okay.
Or he would fail to respond,
Which he got to pay for,
and
by the
even
way.
if he's not the father, he's going to be determined the father because he failed to respond to a petition.
So
And he
you
got to pay
got-
for the test.
So that's
too.
accountability,
So
right?
it's pretty much you have one choice. Just figure it out, get that test done.
Let me tell you about this, because okay,
It's common sense. I don't know what's so hard about this.
My fathers, and I want to say this
Right.
because it hurts me to my core.
Right.
Fathers should not wait until the mother put him on child support to say, I want to be now the legal father to this child.
Listen,
Stop doing that.
I love every
Stop
word of that because of the fact
doing that.
I'm not the one
Wait,
doing
but
that.
so hold on. I'm confused. Wait a minute. So
Wait, let me
I
ask you.
gotta admit legally and say that I'm legally this child father when I know I skied 9-10 months ago. We together. Now you mad at me because we not together.
See,
So
that's
you gonna
that-
take me to
that's-
You
court
can
and now,
get a paternity test.
Easy.
and I gotta pay
That's
for it
why-
too. If it's found out it's not even you gotta pay for it.
Sir,
Oh,
so you
ma'am.
mean to tell me that you don't want to pay $50
No, I
for a
get that.
paternity
No, I'm
test?
talking for everybody. That's why I'm
But
asking
yet-
for a friend.
He'll pay the $50 for
Okay,
Plan
I'm
B
asking
though.
for a friend. This ain't for me.
Let me tell you
This
something.
ain't for me.
You end up paying more down the line
Right.
if you wait to try to, become know your rights.
When that
So-
law starts hitting you, that's when you want to act right.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
as soon as you get hit with those
Yeah.
child support papers, now it's, I want a time sharing
face.
with JoJo. JoJo is 8.
Yep, you ain't seen nothing.
Where were you 8 years ago?
Simple.
That's what, 8 birthdays? What, 8 Christmases?
Right. Where were you 8 years ago when JoJo needed you?
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, it wasn't until mom got fed up that you weren't showing up that she decided to put you on child support in the first place.
Well, let me
agree
tell you
with
about
that.
this one time out of 10 when they tell you, I'll give you free health insurance, you can pay $1 for rent, and you ain't got to worry about nothing as long as you tell who the daddy is.
That is true because
You understand what I'm
the
saying?
state does not want to financially support a child when there's a father or a mother
Right,
out there.
right.
Now let's talk about it both. This is on both ends.
you. It's
I'm not
about
saying,
time. I was
but,
hoping we got to
but
that.
what I'm saying, no, but I was talking about one issue.
Mm-hmm.
The first issue is fathers, because I want you all to take responsibility and accountability of being fathers.
Hold on,
And
wait a
stop-
minute.
hold
What
on.
about the child
And
support system
stop
that
being-
say we follow this home?
Hold on, understand this. Let me finish.
Follow this home.
So the thing is,
Father's home, but you're not following
once you even come to understand that you may be a father, once the
Right.
mother is saying, you're the father, even if you have doubts, go get that paternity test done.
Right.
And once you get that paternity test done, if that child is yours, then go and fight for your rights for your child.
I go with that.
That is your child.
So this is basic
So
level
you
stuff.
need to go
like,
and fight
yeah.
for your rights. And let me tell
Yeah.
you something. Unless you are a murderer, unless you are a child molester, unless you in and out of jail and always in prison, unless you are abusive and neglectful, the courts will give you the time
Right.
sharing with your children.
They will give you the right.
I don't understand what this misperception is that the mother's always gonna have all the time sharing. It happens that way because fathers fail to step up in the beginning to get their child support. I mean, to get their rights.
Right.
So the thing about that is when you wait so long, and you want to file your petition for your rights, JoJo's 8. JoJo he don't know you.
Yeah.
You may have seen
look like
JoJo
you.
3 times.
Yeah.
Now you want to interject yourself into JoJo's life.
Right.
And JoJo like, Harpo,
I
who
don't
this
know
man?
you. Yeah, I don't know you.
Harpo.
And then
Right.
you're gonna create more trauma within that child already. And now
not
you're gonna bring all your
Correct.
baggage that you never had.
Exactly.
You don't know how to parent this, and I get it.
Exactly.
But it
So
goes.
it's too
can I-
late?
Can I just say
No,
something?
no,
real
no.
quick?
I'm not saying it's too late. But the thing is, don't sit there and act like the system is abusing you
Right.
when the judge says, no, sir, you need to spend time with the child starting off at 2 days, starting off at 3 days. Acclimate yourself with this child. Get to know this
Right.
child first.
Good job.
And then work yourself up. It's like a
Right.
step-up plan.
I was.
Okay.
But all of a sudden now it's this whole mentality, the court's against me, man. Well, I don't know. I should have 50-50. What's JoJo's birthday? Because 9 times out of 10, sometimes I've had clients come to me to
Your
say,
birthday.
hey, I want time share with my child. Okay, what's the child's birthday? How you don't know your child's birthday?
Straight
So
up.
this is like basic level stuff. So like I think a lot of things when I think of policing, because I can't, not gonna say I can't stand policing, but everyone gets mad at defund the police. Everyone gets mad at the defense corps, right? This is basic level stuff. If y'all have sex, just go with roll with the flow. I mean, you're out there wilding anyway. Do you think about the guy? If we had an opportunity to bear children, just imagine how many children we bear because of all the women we've possibly dealt with. A man possibly dealt with.
Can I say
You see what I'm saying? But like the woman, we're always like, yo, she might be sleeping with multiple dudes. Yeah, you might be sleeping with multiple women.
Right.
But now that you've been dealt with this woman, you know you've left something in her. Just go with the flow and see what happens.
Right,
I
and then you
ain't
turn
going
around,
down.
but then you turn around and blame the woman and say she's trash, she's a this, she's a
Well,
that.
he's mad at himself.
But you chose to sleep with her. So
Well,
what does that say about your decision
Well,
making?
I mean, sometimes you get some duds.
That's
I'm joking.
The
I'm
Bible
joking.
What
said
I'm
you
saying-
can. The Bible said you fall into diverse temptation.
You get
well,
some
but
duds.
that's what. But that was still a decision
I mean,
that
it's a
you made
decision.
to act
You
off
fall
of your
into
temptation.
diverse
Yeah, okay, fall in.
temptation.
Listen,
That's
okay,
what I'm
fall
saying.
in.
That Henny, that I fell into something that
I ain't
Henny
never
dog
fell
took
in.
over.
I'm going in, but I ain't falling in.
But I get what you're
nowhere,
saying,
okay?
and that's the thing though. If she gives you the text, I'm late text. All right.
But the
All
first
right.
thing y'all say, it ain't mine.
I'll slide the
Come on.
$50 for the plan B,
I got that
and we'll just go from there.
$75.
Yeah,
Oh, 75? Why do you know the
stop
price?
doing that.
I look at it online.
Stop doing that, and
I agree
you don't
with you.
necessarily have to be with the mom to be a father. Just
That's true.
Being because these kids nowadays, the reason they act out. I was watching a show the other day, and one of the things that the little boy said, and he acted out real bad, and he was like, "My dad is in jail." And another one was like, well, my dad's been dead and my dad's not there, and that's why I act the way I act
fatherless
because I don't have a
Fatherless
father,
home.
and I just want my father to get a job. So it's the fathers have to step up because our children, especially our little boys, are lost.
It's a sick cycle.
They are lost, and because of y'all pride, selfishness, whatever
y'all.
it is,
I ain't taking that.
Y'all,
So, I ain't
yes,
taking that.
pride and selfishness
taking it. I ain't feeding
that
that.
you don't
No, I'm
want to
listening to you.
step up, and it's really being selfish because it's now I have to take responsibility of another human being, but I would rather go on trips than do that. I've had.
Wait,
You
what
said
trips?
that. Oh boy.
Oh
yeah, I know about that. Yeah.
I've had, and we're just talking about fathers. We're gonna talk about mothers
I
in
was
a minute.
about to say, like,
Oh,
yo,
we gon-
what's
we
up
gon'
with
switch-
old baby
I wanna hear
moms?
some
No,
mom
but
stuff.
hold on,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying
Moms
is,
with her coming with her bonnet and
But I'm-
big
Mexico
lashes
somewhere all the
and
time.
but I'm gonna
17
talk about that
gang.
in a minute. But but I have to get on fathers too, right? So the thing
This
is,
podcast too short.
the-
We ain't got enough time.
Man, ain't no time limit on
so
this.
the
We're
thing
talking about
is,
this.
the
I don't care what you
fathers,
say.
right? The fathers will say, I don't have it to pay child support.
I don't have it.
That's the
But
very
then you got
legitimate reason,
passport
though.
and you going to Cancun, you going to DR with your
Now,
homeboy.
Sonny, you know them
You
$99 and they got their time shares to it.
Wait.
That's all that is. They pay that little $100.
No, but you gotta pay when you get
people.
there.
Huh?
No.
I got
Yeah.
a funny story that happened when I was working a court overtime or court to court. I remember I was still in the child support. They told me because I never knew it because I'm like I said I'm smart about it. They went in there. They're like, yo, they got to empty their pockets. They basically got to shake them down like they're getting beat up and robbed. And that's
been a
how
while.
they
I
pay.
don't remember what it- I think you might be
they
right.
put them in this little
'Cause they
room.
worry about you beating up on
and
that
it's
lady.
all women in there, and then they got us deputies looking over them like, yo, empty your pockets.
Wow.
And you got to take over. It's like a shakedown.
What in the dang child support court? I know we sat across from each other, but like you was over here, I was over there type
So
situation.
there's a difference. There's a Department of Revenue child support case
That mo.
versus a circuit court child support case.
Okay.
Department of Revenue is with the state, is where they have an attorney that works for the state but represents the state.
Is that Tanglin
It
Rodriguez?
yes.
Oh.
So they represent the state, but it's
Hey.
on behalf of the mother.
Yep.
Or the father.
See, that's
'Cause it
another
could be
thing,
both.
though. Hold on.
Mother or father.
You-
now you
No, listen to
now
this.
when
Listen
you
to this.
You know
Listen to
darn well that the boy can't go down there and say,
Yes, he
I need
can.
a lawyer.
yes, he can.
Boy, I ain't
Yes,
never
he can.
seen one in my
It's
life.
because guess what?
It's a called
Normally
public
it's
defender.
normally it's called the custodial parent.
Thank you.
It's the one who has the kids
That's
most
my
time.
point. But let's just
Right.
say you keeping your child 5 days out the week, but the mama is the one who claims taxes every year, and you go down to that same Tanglin Rodriguez.
Go to the court and file a petition
Thank you.
to determine paternity.
They go money again. What if
It
they ain't
don't-
got that money? Some of the
So
resources.
listen, you gonna spend more money down the road than you will just doing it up front.
That's the
Correct.
thing, though.
And
That's true.
they have a resource at the court where you can go in and you can talk to an attorney for very low cost.
Yup.
People don't know that.
For a very short period of time.
Yup.
And you can buy the documents from the courthouse.
This episode of the Cuff and Cut podcast is brought to you by Introducing Labels by Lynn, a Christian clothing brand dedicated to delivering both fashionable apparel and a powerful message of faith. With custom designs available, you can create a personal and meaningful wardrobe that reflects your beliefs and personality. Each piece is crafted with the highest standards of quality, making it a perfect way to share the love of Jesus Christ with those around you. Visit labelsbylynn.com today.
Right? You can sit down and you can say, my child's name is this.
Yeah.
The birth date is this.
Right.
What am I asking for?
Right.
I'm asking to be determined to be the father, the legal father. What do I want? I want timeshare and I want 50-50. I want it to look like this. I want them on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You can do that
These
by
are
yourself.
documents you're saying that you go fill out.
Yes.
Okay.
You can do these documents on your own.
So you have the
But it
Virgin
takes
Hawkins for
time.
those who have
See, that's
limited
another
access
thing
to
you talk about
funds in
time.
the underserved communities. And then you said you can go to the courthouse and you can actually file these forms, order these forms from the courthouse,
Correct.
fill them out yourself. Don't necessarily need legal representation, but wouldn't you recommend?
Oh yeah, I definitely recommend it. But I'm
Because is
saying
there
if you're
certain language?
But if you're no, the thing is there's certain language, but the court understands what you're saying if you put it in layman's terms.
Okay.
There you go.
So if you put it on your petition, I want
Time
to have time sharing, or I want to see my child. I want my child half of the time. Or whatever, the court will help you figure out what half of the time looks like.
Okay.
Right.
But as long as you can articulate what it is that you want, and the forms are such that it asks you time sharing, it asks you what do you want for responsibility, it asks you what do you want for tax returns, it asks you all you're really doing is following the form.
Right. Okay.
Now there are some times where there may be other circumstances that you may not know about, and yes, it costs an attorney. I always say get an attorney. But if you can't afford one, you just don't sit back and do nothing. There are too many resources out here for you to sit back and do absolutely nothing.
Correct.
You can even call and get a consultation.
Right.
Even if you don't retain me, I may charge you for the consultation, but I can sit here and tell you A, B, C, D. You can go out there and buy $300 Jordans. But you can't pay me $300 for a consultation to see about your child. That is trash.
Well, no, I
Pay
think
me $300, and I will sit there and I will talk to you about the steps and what you need to do, what you need to file, how you need to go about doing it. I don't mind doing that, especially if you
love
can't
these
do it
rappers.
yourself. But I would rather you do that than sit back and do nothing for that child be a fatherless child, and then 8 years down the road again, now mama's putting you on child support, and guess what you do? You ignore it.
And then you go to jail.
You ignore it. Not off rip, but
Yeah.
you ignore it, and then they come back with you with an order. Oh, I ain't go to court because you didn't answer the petition when you were served with it.
20 days, right?
You got 20 days to respond. You were served, and what we do? We just throw it
Throw it
and
on
act
to the
like it's
side.
gonna go away.
Yeah.
Because I ain't looking at it, it's gonna go away. It is not going to go away. So you need to respond to that petition. Even if you write a letter and file it with the court, whatever, respond to it. Because at that point, the court will then acknowledge you responded to it.
Right.
And then you kind of work through the process that way. But closing your eyes and putting it aside and acting like it's not there is not going to make it go away. As a matter of fact, the court will then enter a default against you. And then the court will give the mom everything that she asked for.
Everything.
And then
Yes,
you coming
sir.
back and saying the judicial system is against me. You was against you because you decided not to answer. I don't want to hear that.
She got that free attorney though. I'm gonna still say that. But go ahead though. What she say?
No,
she still got that
I
free
agree with
attorney.
you.
I'm still on that Tangling Rodriguez. I got that
No,
letter
no,
before,
no.
bruh. So they get a free attorney. That's all I know.
I think
I
what
know I had to pay $3,500, but they get a free attorney. That's all I know.
But that's because you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
what do you mean?
But no, but like
I
so-
responded as I was told. Respond. I did the paperwork. I followed the rules. But guess who walked in there with a free attorney who speak for them? They ain't got to even open their mouth.
I agree with that.
Okay.
But the numbers, when you go to child support, numbers are numbers.
Right.
Numbers
I've
don't
heard
lie.
that a
So
lot. Yeah.
numbers, listen,
Yeah.
women lie,
Man,
men
Numbers
lie,
don't.
but numbers
Money
do
does.
not
Numbers
lie.
don't. I'm with
So
you.
when you walk in there, they tell you bring your check stubs, they tell you bring all these things.
Bank records,
So
tax return.
so they're looking at her information, they're looking at your information.
So question, wait a minute, real quick. Let's just say, I don't know we're getting about the game way, but let's say you have a LLC and you have a personal business account and you go in there, tell you to disclose all of your bank accounts, right? Do you have to disclose your business accounts?
Yes. Yep.
Ain't no loophole for you.
There's
No, for you.
it's
Not for me.
all-
You and your Hawaiian
it's all
shirts you
in-
selling, bro, online, bro.
Wait, no, I have a funny
$12
story. I have a funny story I
bro.
heard 10 years ago.
Now you gotta cancel your LLC.
in the army, this one dude was telling me a story about his boy. He was talking about how he's on child support, right? He was making 6 figures overseas. He took a job at McDonald's when his wife found out, or his ex-wife found out, and literally worked the McDonald's job till the child support was arraigned. So they
Trying
would
to
have
find-
to pay
trying to
lawyers.
fool him into the-
No, he wasn't fooling. He was legit working, but he took that year off.
That
to
would
work
not
at
work
McDonald's.
with me.
Oh,
Cause you get 3 years, right?
First of all,
oh,
let me
geez.
tell you
Oh,
something.
Oh.
If
So you can't even do that. You
If
can't
you
stay low
try-
key.
But she a killer,
If
boy.
you listen, let somebody come up
She a killer.
in my office and they tell me the mother, father, whomever,
I'm wearing a McDonald's shirt.
quit a 6-figure job and now working at McDonald's. Oh no, we're
got
imputing
better
that income to
She
you.
going for the bank accounts then.
Not only
Nah,
that,
the
but
money
you
gonna be
have
underneath
shown that you have the ability to make 6 figures.
Oh, okay.
That means what you have done is purposely quit
Yeah,
your job
yeah.
so you don't pay
You
child
pay
support.
less.
We not stupid. The court's not stupid.
Wow.
So you gonna go ahead and make that McDonald's money,
Yeah.
and we can still gonna impute income at you at 6 figures, and you figure it out how to get back to 6 figures. Because that's what I'm coming for.
Dang.
Don't do that.
Dang, they're gonna
you
make you
get mad,
happy.
that kind of stuff, huh?
Because you're, and I
mad.
do because it's a thing. You are now the child is suffering.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
the
Now
bottom
you
line.
saying,
That's
the
now
bottom
you
line.
saying,
That's what
okay,
it's about.
Why you
I
even feel
only
bad?
want to pay $100 a month in child support when your child needs way more than that. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, kids are expensive
Well,
nowadays.
that's not fair to put an amount of money on how much a child's supposed to get per month. Because number one, here's the main thing.
So you mean to
Clothes,
tell me your
food, and house.
$100 a month? You mean to tell me
that's not gonna work.
your daughter?
No, that's not gonna work.
No.
Thank you.
That's a couple
So
days.
and
I
that's
get
what
that.
ends up happening a lot of
Okay,
times.
okay, I get that.
I pay $60 a week.
Yeah.
I heard
What
about
is
that.
$60 a week?
That's
What
a
is that
meal.
gonna do for a
That's
child?
a crab
what the
boil.
mama doing?
Quit doing that.
She get money from us.
So
She
let's
get her
talk.
own money.
So let's talk about the child support and the misconception that mothers don't pay child support.
Okay.
They do?
Yes.
This
They,
is-
they don't
this-
pay it out
this
of
should
their
be the
pockets,
headline
but
of the
it's,
movie.
but
EIC
they
credits,
don't,
bro.
they
They
don't
get
pay,
tax
they may
returns
not
or
pay it
something.
out of their pockets.
They pay out of
right?
their time.
But they no.
Oh.
Stop it. Y'all ridiculous.
They don't get weekends.
They get money, but our money is more.
Correct. So
Right,
the
okay.
thing is, when you do the guidelines, right? And again, this is mother or father. This is not of either.
I've
it's
never
either
seen a woman
or.
pay child support in my life.
I have.
Really?
Yes.
White, she was white, wasn't she?
No.
Asian.
You got a black lady
You're,
paying child
you're
support?
assuming that. Okay. Let me tell you
You
about.
know, come on, let's keep it real.
Let me circle this back. Let me tell you why y'all don't see it a lot. Because black women, when they make a lot of money, they don't really bother with men who don't do nothing. They like, I can pay for my child. I don't need him for anything.
That's true.
If a mother making 6 figures, she would rather take care of that child
Yeah.
than have a no good man
Yeah.
come to her saying, I want 50-50, and knowing he ain't gonna do 50-50,
Okay.
and then try to take her to court for child support
Right.
because he knows she make more than
Making
he.
more money,
So
right,
she
okay.
would rather not deal with it. So what you're seeing is you don't have a lot of black women who are making money, who's dealing with y'all foolishness and going to court about it. And I'm trying to change that mindset.
Yeah, man, y'all foolishness out
Because
here, man.
I'm
Tired
trying to
of
change that
y'all, bro.
mindset because a lot of our black strong women and say, I'd rather do it by myself.
I hear you.
Wow.
They
Independent, I
pay
feel
for
you.
everything. They
That's
pay
a
for
slave
karate.
mentality.
They pay for, band. They pay for it all.
That's that slave mentality.
Dad does not do anything.
That's too strong woman. Y'all, you know what? It started with y'all acting like y'all ain't need us.
No, it's not about we had to step up.
How? Like
Because
the man got kicked out the house.
How?
Because they offered you free health care and $1 rent.
But that's a
so they said,
mentality
you tell
thing.
us
That's
that
a
who this
mentality
man
thing.
is,
That's
then we'll give you this money.
That's assuming a mentality. I don't want a free handout because that
Right.
means I'm living poor.
Right.
I don't want that.
I don't like
So
that word.
again, the women you dealing with, you need to check yourself about their mentality. That's
Right.
number one. So
Right.
take
Right.
responsibility for that.
Drop these
Because a
chicken
woman
heads.
like me, somebody knocked me up.
Right.
I'm not gonna quit my attorney job to go get free health care and do all. I'm not doing that.
I'm trying
Right.
to build with that person, not no chicken heads. No
Right.
dubs.
No chicken
No
heads.
dubs.
That's what I'm saying. So the misconception you're thinking that's the case is not.
Right.
So a lot of successful black women are doing it on their own,
Right.
and they're not asking for child support because they don't want the headache to ask for child support because they don't want that man coming back requesting nothing that they're not gonna do.
So women are better at making choices on their partners than men.
Nah, I ain't saying that either.
Oh, I'm just saying.
I'm
Most
saying-
women are
I've seen-
superficial. Y'all like money.
I'm not
I've
saying
seen
that,
love
but
and
what I
all about the
am
dollars.
saying, what I
Right.
am saying is that that's why you're seeing the difference.
Okay.
I've seen Love
In
and
the
Lock Up.
relations to
Just
seeing
saying.
a
In
woman,
relation
black
to women and
playing
men,
it.
exactly.
Okay. Oh yeah, I can go
That's
with
why
that.
you're saying, "Oh, I don't see no black women paying," because they don't go for it. They don't ask for it.
Right.
So they rather
And
just do it for themselves.
Exactly,
Gotcha.
and they
Gotcha.
should be asking for it. I
Yeah.
have a lot of black women, successful, come to my office, and they feel like I don't know if I want to deal with it. I'm like, but you are doing your child a disservice for not making the father be accountable for what you know what I'm saying? Like even if the child gets older, and I say you have to recognize the effect that it has on the child. The child may not know at 5 and 6 years old or 10 that mom is doing everything or recognize it. But when that child get 15 or 16, that child know daddy's not there. That child knows daddy's not doing anything. So now it has a mental effect on that
They
child
start
because
taking
that
that
child
role.
really
Yep.
now recognizes dad ain't never did nothing for me.
Right.
So
They
what
become
about the
Jody.
mental effect on the man from the divorce who's going through all these things too? Sometimes you have to think about the position that they're in. If they've been knocked down and dragged out and took through the mud, and I'm like, again, I'm not speaking from my own experience, but I've been a barber for like 30 years, so I've talked to a lot of men.
He's part of the BDA, the Bro Dude
No,
Association.
wait.
group,
What do
so-
you mean when you say they've been
The
beat
men
up
have
and
that's
knocked
been
down?
broken, right? Let's just
How?
say they're trying.
What in what regard?
Well, losing their family for number one to getting a divorce. You lost the family in a divorce. Now you going to child support, they're taking half your money from you. I'm not saying half, I'm just throwing a number out there, right? Now you don't have access to your child every day like you used to because you're not in the same household. Now you're delegated or relegated to a schedule that tells you when you can and cannot see your son or daughter. Then you have to pick holidays and share the time together. The man that had just been kicked out that has been staying in his home, or woman. To make sure
Did he really
make
get
sure I
kicked
clarify
out,
that.
though?
Yeah, you gotta go. Well, now you gonna stay there.
Let me tell you this. So
Yeah.
the reason that it seems like the man will get kicked out of the house or whatever is normally, yes, the mother will ask to stay in the house for the purpose of raising the children.
That makes
because
sense.
the
Keep your
children
last
need
name,
stability.
too.
Well, the children need stability. Why, as any parent, you want to kick your kids out on the street and make them live in a bedroom apartment when you got 3 kids and they need a 3-bedroom?
Right.
To me, you're doing that if you're spiteful.
So you should have stayed
right?
with your husband then instead of divorcing him.
I mean, but life happens. Don't stay in a relationship that is no.
So you want domestic abuse?
Exactly.
You want
I'm
to
just
you want to go to
saying
jail
that.
for bad?
Don't
Now
get married.
you gotta get him
Like
involved.
I always say, don't
you want
get
you want me
married.
to come to
That's
your
what I tell
house?
people all
You want
the
me to
time.
come to your house, put you in handcuffs, you beat up your
Just
wife?
don't
and
get
beat
married.
you?
Yeah, don't
No,
worry
but
about
I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
listen,
nah.
life happens.
Yeah.
That's
life
fair.
happens.
That's right.
And when life happens, we gotta fight for what we need when life happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unfortunately, the marriage didn't work.
Yeah.
That don't mean that the relationship with your
You better
child
just
shouldn't
co-parent.
work.
Right.
Co-parent.
You co-parent together. And I understand that some parents are difficult. Yes, you have some men who are just
Right.
ridiculous. You have
Yep.
some women who are very, very difficult.
Right.
And let's get on to women while we're talking about it, because I knew you all wanted to hear this.
This is why he's
It's
here.
about time.
So I know
And
you
this
wanna
ain't
hear
new,
this.
ladies and gentlemen. You can come
So-
in now. The show is started. Come on in. Have a seat out there, and we'll get you right to you.
And women, just because that man is not with you anymore,
Right.
does not mean that you keep your child and use that child as a pawn because you upset with that man for dealing with somebody else. Let me give you a personal story because
Did you do it?
I don't
Other
have any
personal
kids.
story. Oh, my bad. I didn't know. I didn't ask.
Independent.
See, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No,
I apologize.
I make
I
wise
was talking about your
choices.
dog. I was talking about
Do you
your
know what that
puppies.
means?
Yeah, dogs.
No.
No.
pets.
No.
Oh,
so
shoot.
I'm a very
He
responsible.
just struck out, bro. About 1, 2, 3 strikes. That was it
That's
for you,
all right.
bro. You just
So
lost that battle.
this is the thing, and this is a real life story.
Okay.
And this is what I talk to my clients about because again, women come into my office and say, "You don't understand. See, he cheated on me with this heifer, and now she pregnant, and he think he gonna do this with this child, but he ain't gonna do this for this child." I mean, I've heard it all,
I agree
right?
with that. I can see where that.
And they say that I don't understand. Let me tell you about my background because I love to tell the story because it's a testimony, and I want somebody to understand that it works. I have a brother. I'm 1 month and 1 week older than my brother.
So you're not twins?
No, that's separate parents.
Oh, well,
Light skinned people. bro. I
I'm like,
don't get why you light skinned people can't add, bro. You
You
can't subtract and add. Go ahead, mama. I'm sorry.
So-
He's sorry. Go ahead.
So essentially, my mom and his mom were pregnant at the same time.
dang.
Wow.
Okay, so
That's a tough situation. That's amazing.
as a child, as a child growing up, my mother never kept me from my father.
That's good.
She never allowed me to see the anger that she had for my brother's mother or even my father. Guess what? Same thing with my brother's mom. Never showed me, him, any of us, that she was upset with my mom or they didn't get along or upset with my dad. We didn't understand what was really going on till we was about middle school.
That's good though.
So those are things
That's
that we
beautiful.
need, though,
Then
right?
we're finally figuring out, like, wait a minute, we brothers and sisters, and
Why
you're
we-
my mother. and
Yeah,
we older than you.
Wise auntie.
But the things we understood
Yeah.
that,
Our
but we,
both zodiac
but-
signs the same.
Right,
I mean, I
exactly.
get it.
Celebrate
But
birthdays together.
But we understood, this is the thing, we understood that aspect, but once we got to middle school, when we started understanding relationships, and we started understanding, oh, somebody cheating on you, and you starting to understand, like, the emotional toll that relationships can really take on a person, that's when you start saying, wait a minute, my mama had to deal with this whole emotional situation with having another woman pregnant while she was pregnant. His mama had the same thing. But guess what? I was over my brother's mom's house. He was over my house. You could never, ever tell that there was something going on between our parents because they never showed that to us.
So that's like what we was talking about when we were saying that, especially those children who are affected from divorce, you have to have a united front, even though you guys may not like each other or
behind the back,
y'all
behind
hate
the
each other.
door.
I mean, hate is a strong word, but I mean,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. When I was getting divorced, I didn't hate my ex-wife, but I damn sure didn't like her.
And of course, I mean, that's human.
I really didn't like her. I didn't hate her, but I damn sure didn't like her.
Right. I
So,
mean, that's you being a human being. So
You
you're
know?
going to have
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah.
But the thing is, as Black people, we need to learn how to tailor our emotions and control our emotions.
But
our
how?
emotions are
How?
the best of us.
Is it black? Are we as Black people, as African Americans, we have a lot of emotions.
Talk to people. Talk to people. And I understand with males.
Right.
Males are different because girlfriends, we'll call our girlfriends and
Nah,
we'll
we
vent
We ain't
Yeah.
talking
and
to
we'll-
nobody.
Exactly.
I damn sure ain't calling you. That shirt you got on. I am
No,
not.
wait.
I'm not gonna call you.
Actually, I have
you
something to
let's
say
go
about
Go
that.
get in the boat and go fishing.
I think one of the best things that ever happened to me after I got divorced was having a close
was
counsel
divorced.
friend. Hold on, no. I went through a lot when getting divorced in the first 2 years, and I had a council of people who told me I was wrong.
Years, bro.
It was I had a council of people that kept me accountable.
He said he had a council of people.
He
So
don't
listen to him.
count though.
Listen,
he don't count
I'm talking about you. You
No, me.
anyway,
I was talking to you. Okay,
yeah,
great. Okay,
so I had
my
a
bad.
council of people
I
that
was his
kept me
counselor.
accountable.
Got you.
As long as people at work and the club closed that were able to let me know when I'm wrong, to let me know, hey, you might want to relax. You're going through something right now. When I'm short on a car, or not short, but I'm short on my own money, giving money to my ex-wife, I'm freaking out. Like, yo, I can't afford this. But you got to remember, like, they'll bring you and ground you and handle your emotions. So I agree with the emotional side, because if you don't, you're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
You're going to go to jail.
Right.
You're going to end up on the street. And then I always say you're 2 mistakes away from being a crackhead. So, you know.
What's the first step? So
Well, I say a crack dealer. I don't know about a crack head.
Oh, I
I'm a
say
crack
crack
dealer.
No, I say crackhead.
I get broke.
Oh,
Because crack dealers are not better than crack
I'm
heads.
sorry, we went about that one. So you think that if there's anything that we can do, like what are some changes that you would like to, if there were changes that you would like to see in the family court of law, specifically pertaining to the Black community, what advice would you give? Like, be it the mother or the father, what would you tell them?
I've already pretty much talked about it. I need fathers
Right.
to immediately go to the court
go to the court.
to determine or not they're the legal father. I need that to happen.
Step one.
That's
And this-
step one.
Okay.
Then-
Accept
then
responsibility.
Accept responsibility.
Okay.
Then that would take care of a lot of problems.
Okay.
Right? One of the things that I hear people say, I don't want the government in my business.
That's a fact.
You have a social security number.
You already labeled.
You already
Yeah.
in the government already in
Got
your
everything on
business.
you. Got you.
know everything about
And
it.
you
I'm
got your iPhone and
confused.
stuff. You got
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean-
the government's already in your business. So I need
Okay.
y'all to get out of that
I
mentality
can go with that.
the government's gonna be in my business. And
Okay.
it may be necessary that you have to be on child support to have peace and to take care of your child. There's nothing wrong with having a set amount of child support to pay every month.
Are there
There's
times
nothing
where
wrong
you
with
don't have that? Are there times where the judge ends up at the end of the day, he said, you don't owe nothing, you don't owe nothing. You take care of him,
Yes.
you take care of him. Okay.
Usually
So
that
that's
happens.
possible.
Usually that happens is when both parents are on equal footing.
The mediator.
So usually
They used to be through the mediator.
no, I'm saying no. Equal footing, and as in equal salary.
I made 50, you made 50.
equal time,
Yeah,
50-50.
equal
50-50.
responsibility. So we're both sharing equally. We both but make $50,000 a year. We both are paying for, let's say, the dental and medical. We're
Healthcare,
both
medical,
equally
yeah.
doing it. Then 9 out of 10,
Okay.
there's no child support on either end because you're on both equal footing.
Okay.
That's when that happens.
So
right?
you feel it's equally
But-
accountable for both sides.
Correct.
There's no
and-
unfairness.
right, but what happens is, yes, you're gonna pay child support. If you're making $100,000 a year,
Mm-hmm.
and the mother, father, whoever's making $30,000, yes, you're gonna have more of the responsibility because you're making more of the money.
She tricked him.
I
though.
mean, that-
She tricked him.
what-
She making 30,000. He making 100. She tricked him. She paused in the club, dressed all
See.
nice, and had a little diamond earrings. Made him think that she had a bunch of money. He went home, and then next thing you know,
And
he
that's
found out
his
she a
fault
Walmart
because-
cashier.
He fell into
And
it.
that's
He's
his
a Walmart
fault.
cashier,
That's
you know?
his fault because number one, he shouldn't be falling into nothing that soon.
That's fair, that's
so
real,
I
that's
need
real.
y'all to
So
tighten
that's
up
a whole
on
nother
that.
topic. All right, I'm sorry. I ain't
Thank
touching that
you.
one. I'm gonna leave that one
But
alone.
but
Hey,
really,
are
but
you the
really,
priest?
but
Like-
but
I'm leaving that
no,
alone.
but really understanding who you're dealing with.
Right.
right.
So the irony is right
now,
there.
Now, granted, some people do lie and some people carry on a whole facade, and I get that. But that's not all the time. You have to take responsibility and understanding who this person is you're sleeping with.
That's right.
You it's one night stand, that's your fault.
That's right.
It's both their fault.
6 months in, that's your fault.
Same door.
You know what I mean? A year in, that's your fault because you
You
really
still
don't know a
there.
person. Yes,
About
you-
3 years.
You really don't know a person after a year. I
About
mean,
3
you,
to 5,
you
I
really
say.
have to be
So celibacy,
around a
just
person.
celibacy.
Yes,
Oh, he
abstinent.
the worst to talk about that.
I'm
Ask him.
abstinent.
Abstinence.
Ask him.
I'm abstinent too.
Ask him how much he say he's celibate. Ask him how
I'm
much he's
celibate.
celibate
It's called
for.
abstinence.
Tell him how much
not
he's celibate
celibate.
for.
Oh, I'm abstinent.
Thank you.
You
Unless you're a
absent.
nun
He
or a
absent.
priest. If you're a priest and a nun, then you're celibate. If
Oh.
you are just refraining from sex,
I'm
it's-
absent from sex.
Okay, so what we're talking about today is, listen, so we really are grateful that you came by and
Thank you
stopped
for
by and
having us.
talked with us today. I mean, you gave us a lot of good information. I'm sure that a lot of people have a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot. Like, subscribe, share, comment, tell your friends. Make sure that if you have anything you want to ask us, drop a comment down here below. We really look forward to trying to continue to affect change in our community. Miss Randolph, we're grateful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
You gave us a lot to deal with. So we
great.
hope that you can tune in for our next episode. We're grateful and we appreciate you. Cuff and Cut Podcast.
Yep.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.